Look at this drip! Hello humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. It's a celebration. It's a celebration. It's been 20 years since the Xbox 360 released. Let me tell you, everything that you see here happened because of the Xbox 360. How so? Well guys, I started amassing this collection back in 2016. And the reason I started doing it is because I walked into a GameStop and I couldn't believe how cheap the games were. I was just like, oh my gosh, how much? $5, $3, $2? It was crazy. One of my best buys during that time was this. I got this game for $2.29. That 4 for 10, 4 for 20. I mean, it was great. Those were the days. That's how I started all this journey, right? And let me tell you, if you've been around the channel, you know that I missed the 7th generation. I didn't miss it because I didn't like it or I wasn't into video games. I missed it because I was raising kids. I was working. And at the time of the Xbox 360, my son was in high school. He was doing really good. And all he wanted for Christmas was a PlayStation. And at that time, I traded in pretty much everything that I had that was valuable just to get him that PlayStation, right? He deserved it. I had no regrets, right? Because he really deserved it. He was a good kid. What I remember the most is hearing about the Xbox 360 and then watching that commercial. Oh man, watching that commercial of Gears of War, Mad World. That to this day it sticks out as one of my biggest memories from this time. But I didn't get into the console until after the kids have gone out of school, and I remember great deals like this for $2.29, and I was just blown away by the amount of collectibles that were there for such great prices, since I had missed it. People had moved forward to the Xbox One, to the PlayStation 4, and I was like, there's all this to play for such great prices. I can afford this. I couldn't afford the latest and greatest, right? Because by that point the kids had gone to college, and now I'm going to college, following them. So now I'm on a budget. When this was going on, I couldn't afford it anyway because I had the mouths to feed. My kids were still in high school, and I was working 6 days a week just to put food on the table, paying the rent. That was my life then, and so when I was able to go back into this, I had such enthusiasm for finding all these deals, right? And this is the console that started it all. This is the console that started everything, because once I started looking and hunting for these, I would go to different GameStops. I would go to GameStops like 100 miles away. If I had to go somewhere because of business or whatever, I'd just drive by it and I'd look through my route where all the GameStops at, and I would stop and get all these games. The majority of this collection that you see here, I've never paid more than $5 for. That's the truth. That's the truth, and I have a very large collection, just because I took those trips, and by looking for these, I would find other things. Oh, there's this other game. There's an original Xbox game. There's some PlayStation stuff there, PlayStation 2. There's some PlayStation 1 stuff, and that's how it started. All due to the Xbox 360 and my collection. But like I said, I wasn't around during that era. And it makes me feel, now that we're living during this era of the Xbox, it makes me feel so nostalgic, because the company will never be this again, right? This is when the company was focused on the gamer. This was when the gamer is not a product, right? Right now, in the game industry in general, you are the product. Right? This is just a device, right? The games now are just a vehicle through where they can get to you and get your information and get this and that and the other. See what you're doing. They want to see what you're doing on chat. They want to see what you're doing, if you're shopping around, all these apps, whatever, all the craziness that goes on. But back here, it wasn't so intrusive, Back here, it really was about the games. And if you look at the diversity of games in the library, man, let me tell you, what a great time. What a great time. Now you guys have the advantage of being able to buy consoles that are modded, that have all the library on there. And let me tell you, a lot of these games are worth playing right now. To my fellow, Gen Xers out there that have only focused on, third generation, fourth generation hardware, say, give this a shot. If you want to look at modern gaming, or what was to be modern gaming without all the intrusion, right here, and there's still, great buys out there. You can still find discs on their own. There's many ways to play these games. And for me, this console, it's almost, I feel, this console to me feels very much like a more successful version of the Saturn, right? Where that was the last great thing that these companies did before they, eventually started turning into something else, right? And that's what happens to me with this right here. Just the range of games, man. I'm just looking here, and I'm just looking at the A's and B's, right? Kurt's Wrath, guys. This game is so different. So different. The old Assassin's Creeds when they were good. The BioShock, Borderlands. Look, we have Darksiders, Dead or Alive 4, Diablo 3, the much maligned Diablo 3, right? And because I was feeling nostalgic, I went ahead and I started playing Dark Souls, on the Xbox 360. And what a journey it's been for me. I can imagine for the journey that people had playing during that time, right? I would just watch my friends play, and I watch my kids play. Sometimes his friends would come over with 360. He had the PlayStation, and they would just have little, game sessions there where I just go and look. But to me, Gears of War, it was just in another space, right? Like, that's really where I felt belonging. Like, man, I wish I had this console, and I was already an adult. I wasn't, I didn't have any inklings of me being able to play that game or own that game, but I knew that this was it. Like, I really wanted to have this experience. And finally it happened for me, right? After all the kids were gone, I was able to get in and collect it and do, pretty much anything that I wanted to do with the console. But I really appreciate it, and I still do. I have all the modern stuff, but let me tell you, there's something about playing these games and knowing that nobody's looking over your shoulder online, right? And not having to have this or that, the other, and I look at my old, oh man, look, $2.69, and I was a Power member back then. I still have the old cards, by the way. $2.69 for Gears of War. And that's how my collection started, and that's why this console for me feels so special, because it's the first time also, because of the prices, that I was getting into collector's editions, and having nicer stuff. Look at the Street Fighter, man, one that I value the most. I got this off of GameStop, and there were so many games that I couldn't get. There's so many others during the time that I couldn't get, that I still think about, that I go back, oh man, I should have gotten this game, I should have gotten that game, and I'll still go back and get them if I can. Now, these days of chasing this stuff is over, and they're never going to be back again. I leave the price labels on these just because nobody would believe how much I paid for them, right? But these are the GameStop stickers, that say $2, that say $3, that say $4, right? And these games, guys, if you're a retro gamer that maybe had just been focused on the third generation, maybe fourth generation, and have never played a more modern looking game, this is a great place to start. Right now you have the ability to buy modded consoles, there's emulation, what have you, but there's nothing like the real thing. Let me tell you, there's nothing like the real thing, and putting that disc in there, and I was reliving it with Dark Souls. And just knowing that you have a game that is yours, that the internet is not following you, because you don't have to connect to Xbox Live if you don't want to. It's just your game and you're playing and you're having a great time, and that's it. And those were the days. The best that Microsoft ever was and ever will be is the Xbox 360. And unfortunately, those days will never come again. All right, humans, that's just a little piece of nostalgia for me, a little piece of history on how I got, involved with all this craziness. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. If you can, make sure you give me a like and a subscribe. It really helps out the channel. All right, guys, I will catch you on the next one. Take care.